Hello, friends. It's John Planet Third with episode 84 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the podcast. Today we're going to review Damage Control, Volume 1, Issue 4. So let's get to it. And once again, thank you to Francisco for providing the theme song to the podcast. And we are second to last issue of our Inferno coverage. This says Inferno in the top right corner continues intermediately. When the superheroes need help, they call Damage Control, number 4 in a 4-issue limited series. In the upper left corner box is Colossus Storm and one of the Marx Brothers. This would have cost you a dollar and a dollar, 125 cans and 50 pence. And it has Wolverine on the cover with a pie on his face saying somebody dies. And then the whole crew of Damage Control running off. The Spider-Man mask in the bottom left corner. And this comic came out in August of 1989, which makes sense. That's when all of these came out. Writer Dwayne McDuffie. Penciler Ernie Cohen. Inker Bob Wykeck. My all-time favorite inker. Letterer Dick Parker. Colors John Willington. Editor Sid Jacobson. And editor-in-chief Tom DeFago. This lovely old house was once the site of Professor Xavier's School for Gifted and Talented Youngsters. For years it served as home and secret headquarters to the mutant adventurers known as the X-Men. The few who knew the old house secrets fondly referred to it as the X-Mansion. As a picture of the lovely mansion. But now, as a result of the catastrophic conflagration known as Inferno, see X-Men 240 to 243 editor's note, the X-Mansion is no more. We just see it's a crater now. The men and women who would most mourn the passing of this place are occupied with other concerns. In the press of these difficult times, none have incineration to rebuild. These days, there isn't even a spare moment to sort through the rubble. For the moment, the mess is just going to have to take care of itself, and we see some metal arms coming through. 3 days later, at the Cornerstone, a nearby building supply company, and there's people talking about all the materials it would take to clean up the mess. The Flatiron Building, Manhattan headquarters of Damage Control, an unusual engineering firm that, while specializing in repair of property damage caused by battles between superhumans, is open to other kinds of work if the price is right. And so they're going to not necessarily clean the X-Mansion remains, but they want to find all the tech and other hidden treasures that could be found. 1407 Grey Moken Lane, Salem Center, New York. And now we meet the cast of Damage Control. Robin Chappell, traffic manager. Lenny Ballinger, head foreman. Gene Strausser, research and development. Bart Rotsam, college intern. And John Purder, account executive. A Stanley presentation starring Damage Control and guest starring the Uncanny X-Men in Excessive Farce. And I don't know, the other three issues were filled with humor, but this one definitely has like a lot of like sight gags and like the characters are very zany. Albert Cleary, the comptroller, so they're trying to work their way down to figure out how to, because they're just on the surface, so they're, all the good stuff's going to be buried. And then, I should keep my finger on these characters' names. So Robin Chappell narrates, we were doing some repair work in this place. Albert and I were in the study finishing up some paperwork with the business owner. The trouble started when two of these children ran afoul of Jean. And, oh yeah, so this is like a hidden tale of Damage Control. And we see the danger room with Kitty and Doug. Doug saying, "I'm finished, Kitty, but I don't understand why we fed all these comedy tapes into the computers." "Simple, Doug. The purpose of the danger room is to let us practice our mutant powers in battle-like situations. The new Shi'ar technology we've incorporated into the room, a gift to Professor X from the empress of an alien race back in X-Men 156 to 160, editor, allows us to practice against simulations of our actual foes." The damage control guy, who was pretty sure is Gene, is like, "Oh, a sophisticated holographic and robotic technology intended for environmental simulation." And Doug's like, "Who? You're not supposed to be in here. This stuff is self-repairing." "I bet we can make this do some neat stuff if we fiddle with the operating systems a bit. Anybody got a screwdriver?" And we see some other damage control with Doug, or hanging out with Logan. Then we see here training sequence activated. "Uh-oh, one of your guys wandered into the danger room. We better shut it down." "That's not possible just now," as Gene's holding all these wires. Oh, and Wolverine's in the danger room with with the damage control guys. So all of a sudden you start seeing the room rev up, and Wolverine's trying to get them out of there. As a clown runs in and smacks Wolverine with a pie, just like as we've seen in the cover. While in the professor's study, and Xavier sort of has like a kingpin-like face about him. Like he looks like, 30 more pounds than we usually see him at. The mightiest telepath on the planet marshals all of his mental powers in order to summon the available members of the team he founded, which includes Nightcrawler, Colossus, Cyclops, Storm, and Rogue. Indeed they have. So now they're all in the danger room. So now the X-Men are locked in the danger room, whereas all the damage control people are out. So now they're like, well, why don't we just shut the program down? Cyclops raises his ruby quartz visor, releasing a well-nigh an irresistible beam of force that strikes unerringly at the cutoff switch at the far end of the chamber. It seems like a waste. Nightcrawler could have just teleported over there. And then Kitty's not in the room, though. She's with Xavier. He's like, "Something is wrong, Kitty. Go down and see if we can repair the cutoff switch." A moment's concentration and Kitty Pryde phases, passing her body's molecules through the molecules of the window pane. "Back off, guys. When I'm phasing, my body disrupts electrical circuits, and you guys are just robots." Oh, that's the comedy. That's why the Marx Brother and the clown's there. "Problem, guys, I will have to turn solid to work on this, and there's a lot of these clowns around." So the X-Men are trying to stay busy. And then, so now the clowns have taken a sinister note. Poor Rogue gets shot with an arrow, but since it's a real arrow, it actually goes through her arm, which makes her very mad. She starts just like punching the heck out of it. Kurt teleports around another robot and destroys it. Storm just lightning blasts another one. The Marx brother has a bomb that says "hurt" on it, and Colossus grabs it and like takes the flame off, and then that still triggers it. So now his face is all smoky. He's not amused. Cyclops dodges all these pies and then hits the accountant in the face. And they're back in the room as Kitty's still trying to shut it down. The Rogue's like, they say, "Shut up. We have reached the cutoff switch." "X-Men, close ranks and protect Kitty," Cyclops says. "I'll solve if I can get right to work." "Ah!" And her hand, oh, she grabbed a mouse trap on her fingers, which I tweeted this panel on, what's the day, Friday, earlier today. And the accountant's like, "That's pretty bad. I can't work like this," which I wrote like hard relate to. And then he's like, "All right, kid, then talk me through it." And now there's a lightning beast that Storm takes care of. And Storm thinks to herself, this sort of thing never happened to me when I was a space whale, which is referenced to X-Men 166. Oh, the Acanti. And then Robin's knocking a bunch of, the Three Stooges robots are there. So I guess there's a bunch of comedy acts over the years. And then he's like, is anyone listening? Don't crush the dwarf. Hand me the pliers. And Colossus runs off like, hold still. Never mind, I'm finished. And Kitty like helps him back up on his feet. And they're like, we did it, we did it. So this room is self-cleaning, huh? That's too bad. And then later, they're all updating Xavier about what's going on. And he's like, I am forced to use my mental abilities to remove from them any memory of the technology of the X-Men or this day. From now until such time as their will is overcome my mental command, they will see or remember nothing of this ordinary at this house. And then the issue ends with them all like, I remember. And then he's like, I don't. And so the robots are still clearing the way. And next day at the Cornerstone, they're talking to the police. Later, back at the X Mansion, and Robin is looking at the wreckage. I don't understand why you were so insistent on protecting the X Men from being implicit in the thefts. After all, they treated us pretty shabbily. The X Men died as heroes. John, along with most of the rest of the world, believes the X Men to be dead. See X Men 223 for details, editor. I didn't want to trust their reputation. That's awfully altruistic of you. Not really. We did promise them confidentiality. We should keep our promises. It's just good business. Dead or alive, the customer is always right. And they say it's the end. See you in September, as they're going to get a second ongoing, or a second miniseries. So not too bad. It's mostly just an excuse to have an X-Men tie-in to finish the miniseries out and to have Inferno, so might as well boost sales. But that was Damage Control number 4, and then we're going to end with Power Pack 43, I think it is. And we'll be all done with Inferno, everyone. So this day has finally come. I'm going to post just 3 images onto Twitter and Instagram once this uploads. So you can check that out at SNFWM. You can follow me. I should mention, so Kitty or Kate, Ileana, nor Lockie were any of the monthly books, but I really enjoy Uncanny Spider-Man number 3. Like, I will continue to demand Marvel to keep making that an ongoing series and not just stop at 5, because it's so great having Kurt back. Dark X-Men 4 was pretty nice with Madeline and the evil Madeline about to confront each other. Uncanny Avengers 4 was a real about face where issue 3 left a lot of people wanting more, and I think it happened this time, and we found out who Captain Coca-Cola is, and Psylocke took care of, and that's Revenge, of course, took care of the Fingers twins, and I'm trying to think of, and Jean Grey 4 came to a close by Louise Simonson, and I thought it was a pretty good mini-series, but I sure wish they would let these veteran X-writers actually play in the sandbox and not just do the stuff that's like somewhat related, but we never read it, you're fine. And the first 3 issues had this whole what if umbrella to it, and issue 4 was more of like a character study, but using the what if genes that we've seen. So it funneled nicely, but the whole time I was like, I wish there was more parts like this throughout the whole series. Speaking of what if, I just saw a trailer for season 2 that comes out in December, so I didn't really have a theme for December, so I'll announce now that I'm going to do 4 issues of what if. I'm just going to go with my earliest issues and see what 4, are the ones that we cover. And Uh, I guess that's it for the episode, a shorter one. You can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and YouTube, and Instagram at Jackal SII. I'm never really that active on Instagram, but there if you want to add a friend. Do they refer to them as friends? Maybe that's just Facebook. But anyway, so we'll see you next week when I'm not sure what comic we would do, but if not, I have a issue 41 to cover, so we have at least something to discuss. So, thanks for listening, everyone, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, bye.